Hi YouTube. Habits by definition is a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. Habits are behaviors which we do over and over again and they become our habit. On average, it takes a person more than 2 months before a new behavior becomes automatic. That is 66 days to be exact. And how long it takes a new habit to form can vary widely depend on the behavior and the person and the circumstances. In other words, if you want to set your expectations appropriately, the truth is that it will probably take you anywhere from 2 months to 8 months to build a new behavior into your life. Imagine this is your house. Okay, let me draw a better one. A very good example of this is you going from home to work. This is you driving to work, and let's say you have had a bad day, and on your way back, you start thinking of things you could have done. As your brain is thinking about this more important thought, you finally reach your destination without you even realizing it. This is when your mind subconsciously tells you to take the right turns on your way back. Amazing, isn't it? Same thing can be said about good and bad habits. Let's concentrate on bad habits. There is a reason why quitting a bad habit is really hard. Some people do manage to do it if they have willpower, but rest always have a trigger. Although they manage to change the habit for a month or two, but when they come across a strong trigger, they return back to the habit. The author in his book, The Power of Habit, said, habit is formed by multiple things. These can be classified into 3 types, which is routine, trigger, and the reward. Trigger is the one which makes you do good or bad habits. It can be anything. It is something which drives you to do it. Smoking, for example, usually starts when most of us were young. It's usually your friend whom you meet day in day out who either smoked or you knew someone who smoked. Initially you would say no to it, but as your friend persists, you have it saying it's only one time. A trigger can be anything. Any particular time, any place, emotions like when you're stressed out or sad, or any last action when, for example, like when you have your meal. Now let's look at routine. Routine is something which you do over a period of time. In this case, with the smoking example mentioned before, the routine would be, he picks you up, you go to the shop and buy some smokes and have the smoke over together over coffee. Now this friend and the coffee shop becomes the trigger. Whenever you see him, you feel like smoking. Eventually, as you keep doing it, even when your friend doesn't make it a day or two, subconsciously you would do the same. Lastly, let's look at reward. Reward can be anything. It can be the taste of ice cream, the kick one gets after smoking, or any other sense of satisfaction. Now that you understand what trigger, routine, and reward are, we can now look at how one can change one's habit. In order for anyone to change their habit, one should understand his or her routine. Once you figure that out, you have to find that trigger in the routine. And lastly, the reward in the end. Let's look at another example. Suppose there is this guy who likes to eat a lot of ice cream and now he wants to quit it. So let's look at his routine, trigger, and the reward. Say for example, he goes to work, he starts craving for ice cream at around 2 p.m. to 2:30 during his lunchtime. He already has finished his lunch and has 15 minutes remaining. He walks down using the stairs and goes to the ice cream shop right across his office and orders an ice cream and has it while chatting with his colleagues. The time in this case becomes the trigger, and him taking the stairs and walking down across the office and ordering ice cream and then chatting with his colleagues will be his routine. The reward is of course the taste of ice cream. Now in order for him to quit, he would need to change his routine, trigger, and the reward. Now let's look at the same guy again. He goes to work around 2 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. During his lunchtime, he finishes his lunch. He walks down using the stairs and goes to the ice cream shop across the office, and instead of ordering ice cream, he orders a chocolate bar and has a chat with his colleagues while having it. By repeating the process, the reward has turned from ice cream to a chocolate bar. Over time, he can do the same routine, but by not having anything and just chat with his colleagues and come back. This way, one can change his or her habit by changing the routine, trigger, and the reward. That is all for now. Thank you for watching.